I stood in my grandmother's empty bedroom, staring at the lawyer's letter in my trembling hands, and suddenly everything made sense. The rushed funeral, my mother's fake tears, my uncle's nervous glances, the way they'd all pushed me out of every conversation about Gran's estate. They didn't just forget to tell me about the will reading. They deliberately hid it from me. My name is Aria, and I'm 23 years old. 3 weeks ago, my grandmother passed away. She was the only person in my family who ever really saw me, who listened when I talked about my dreams, who believed I could be more than what everyone else expected. When she died, I felt like I'd lost the only anchor keeping me steady in a family that never quite felt like home. The funeral was strange. My mother cried loudly, dramatically, but her eyes stayed dry. My uncle gave a speech about how much Gran meant to him, even though he'd only visited her twice in 5 years. My cousins hovered around my aunt, whispering and glancing at me like I was some kind of stranger. I thought grief just made people act weird. I was wrong. They weren't grieving. They were planning. The first sign came 4 days after the funeral. I went to Gran's house to pack up her things. She'd always told me I could have her jewelry box, the one with the little ballerina that spun when you opened it. But when I arrived, my aunt was already there, loading boxes into her car. "What are you doing?" I asked. She barely looked at me. "Clearing out the house. We're selling it. Already? The family decided," she said coldly. "We need to move quickly, but Gran just died, and what about her things?" I wanted Aria. "You're not a child anymore," my aunt snapped. "This is adult business. Let the family handle it." I left confused and angry. That night, I called my mother. "Why didn't anyone tell me they were clearing out Gran's house? Because you'd make it emotional," she said. "You always do." She was my grandmother. She was everyone's grandmother. "Aria, stop acting like you were special to her." The words stung, but I swallowed them down. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe grief was making me paranoid. Then 2 weeks later, I ran into Mrs. Chen at the grocery store. She'd been Gran's neighbor for 30 years. "Oh, Aria," she said, touching my arm gently. "I'm so sorry about your grandmother, and I'm sorry you missed a will reading. That must have been awful." I froze. "What will reading?" Mrs. Chen's face went pale. "Oh no, you didn't know? Know what?" She hesitated, then lowered her voice. "There was a will reading last week. At the lawyer's office downtown. Your whole family was there." My heart pounded. "That's impossible. No one told me." "I only know because I saw your mother and uncle leaving the building," Mrs. Chen said quietly. "I assumed you were inside." I drove straight to the law office. My hand shook on the steering wheel. A will reading. My entire family had gone without me. The receptionist was polite but firm. "I'm sorry, miss, but I can't discuss client matters." "My grandmother was your client," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Her name was Alina Hartwell. I'm her granddaughter." The receptionist's expression shifted slightly. She glanced at her computer screen, then back at me. "Let me get Mr. Peterson." The lawyer was a thin man with kind eyes and a tired face. He looked at me for a long moment before speaking. "Miss Hartwell, I wondered if you'd come." "You wondered? Please sit down." I sat. My entire body felt numb. "Mr. Peterson folded his hands on his desk. "Your grandmother's will was read on the 14th. Your family attended. You were listed as a primary beneficiary, but when I asked where you were, your mother said you declined to attend." "That's a lie," I whispered. "I suspected as much," he said quietly. "Your grandmother spoke of you often. She wouldn't have expected you to miss this. What did the will say?" He pulled out a folder. "Your grandmother left her house and the majority of her savings to you. Approximately $400,000 in total assets." The room spun. "To me, yes. She felt you were the only one who truly cared for her, not her money. She was very specific in her wishes." He paused. "Your family contested the will immediately after the reading. They claimed you were estranged, that your grandmother was mentally unfit when she wrote it, that you'd manipulated her." Rage burned through my chest. "That's insane. I visited her every week. I took care of her when she got sick." "Where were they?" "I know," Mr. Peterson said gently. "I have documentation of your visits." Your grandmother kept a journal. She knew her family might react this way, so she prepared evidence. What do? You fight, he said, and you do it now, before they convince a judge to freeze the assets. I called a family meeting. I didn't ask permission. I didn't warn anyone. I just sent a group text, Gran's house. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Everyone needs to be there. They came, probably because they thought they could control me. My mother arrived first, her face tight with annoyance. My uncle followed, pretending to be concerned. My aunt looked nervous. My cousins stayed by the door, watching like vultures. Arya, what's this about? My mother asked. I stood in the center of Gran's living room, the room they'd tried to empty without telling me, and I held up the lawyer's letter. This is about the fact that you all lied to me. You hid Gran's will. You went to the reading without me. You tried to steal my inheritance. The silence was deafening. That's ridiculous, my mother said, but her voice wavered. We didn't hide anything. You knew about the reading. Stop lying. I shouted. I spoke to the lawyer. I saw the will. Gran left everything to me, and you couldn't stand it, so you lied and said I didn't care about her. You're contesting the will based on lies. My uncle stepped forward, his face red. You manipulated her. You turned her against her own children. I loved her. I screamed. I was the only one who visited her. The only one who listened to her. You only cared when you thought there was money. My mother's mask finally cracked. You think you deserve everything? You who have done nothing with your life. We raised you. We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us. By stealing from your own family? I didn't steal anything. Gran gave it to me because she knew exactly who you all were. My aunt started crying, real tears this time, but not from sadness, from anger, from greed. You're tearing this family apart, she said. No, I said, my voice shaking but strong. You already did that. The legal battle took 4 months. My family hired lawyers, spread rumors, tried to paint me as a villain. But Gran had been smart. She documented everything, her journal entries about my visits, her clear state of mind, her reasons for leaving me the inheritance. The judge ruled in my favor. I sold Gran's house. I couldn't live there. It held too many memories and too much pain. But I kept the jewelry box with the little ballerina. It sits on my dresser now, in my new apartment across town. My family doesn't speak to me anymore. My mother sends occasional texts, cold and polite, asking if I've come to my senses. I don't respond. Sometimes I wonder if I should feel guilty. If I should have just let them take it, kept the peace, stayed small and quiet like I always had. But then I remember Gran's voice, the way she used to tell me, Arya, don't let anyone make you invisible. I'm not invisible anymore. And I'm finally free. The ballerina still spins when I open the box. And every time she does, I think of Gran and I smile.